the time I realised, oh no, this isn't good, was I was reading a book and it was about lots of different like social justice movements, all different sorts, not even just necessarily climate related, and different groups that had tried to campaign for different things. And the book ended, and it was actually a very positive ending. The author summarised it, and kind of, it was meant to be a hopeful message, but I was reading it quite late at night, sitting at like the base of my bed, and I finished it and I just cried and cried, and I was feeling incredibly isolated and overwhelmed that so many people were trying to do so much, and I felt completely paralysed and unable to contribute to any of it. Feeling like I wasn't really able to do anything because there would always be a negative consequence of that. Food being in plastic or not in plastic, trying to always find food outside of plastic, but then of course that's an accessibility issue. A lot of supermarkets have food in plastic. Should I have bananas? Because they're brought by from a different country. Is that fair? Should I have those? What I'd be left with is maybe the sense of shame. I was like, how dare you still want lovely things when the world is ending and you don't even know if you're going to have a safe world to grow old in? Like, what are you doing? Loads of different organisations sharing lots of different stuff about climate change. So it could be how to fix a bike, it could be... And then on a maybe slightly darker note, you realise, well, the only way I can ever really have a minimal impact is if maybe I just didn't exist at all, which is not a particularly pleasant thought to have.
I think anxiety is just the new name of the game for my generation and future generations.
Yes, I'm worried about the climate change.
I think definitely yes. Being part of the society in the 21st century, I think it's very hard to ignore the increasing climate problems.
I definitely do feel anxious about it.
I don't know what it means, what the future holds for us. Yes, but it's quite worrying.
75% worldwide think the future is frightening. 4 out of 10 are hesitant to have children because of climate change. And over half, 56% of children and young people worldwide think that humanity is doomed. What we're giving children and young people is this very different experience of growing up in the world. They're growing up with the grief and the fear and the anxiety about the future.
It's a quite natural response because as you see, as the world is today, that no one seems to care about what's happening. I think it's only human to feel that way. But of course it doesn't have to be that way, because when you take action you also get a sense of meaning that something is happening. If you want to get rid of that anxiety, you can take action against it.
I see it now as, a very understandable and rational response. It's me being concerned about the planet. The planet is in trouble. I'm worried about it. It's my empathy, it's my wanting to care, it's maybe my anger about those who have had injustices put upon them. I think the issue is when it starts sort of overwhelming and starting to affect your functioning, and that's when we need to figure out and be careful about it and manage it. But I definitely don't want anyone to think that it's something that's bad to have necessarily or wrong to have, because it ultimately just means that you're facing the problem head on and you're trying to figure out things to deal with it, and you're worried and caring. I mean, I'd much rather everyone have at least like a manageable amount of eco-anxiety, because there is a very real threat that we're dealing with, than to completely deny it.
When we take action, there is hope everywhere. So if you want something to happen, then do something. By that, I do not mean that the responsibility falls on individuals and that people in power are left off the hook, but we have an opportunity to make them act. We all have a responsibility, but sometimes that responsibility is to put pressure on those who need to take action.
If the world keeps getting warmer, the water will start rising and then there will be no land left. So animals won't be able to live, and it'll get so hot it will start. Eventually the water will stop rising and everything will start burning eventually. The ice is going to melt and the ozone layer is going to is getting destroyed.
By 2100, it is polar bears are supposed to be extinct.
And how do you feel about that?
Sad.
I'm really scared about the future because I don't know what's going to happen.
Okay.
I'm worried because if the world gets too hot, then, as I said before, I like animals and all animals will start dying and people, it might be the end. Like, people won't survive anymore.
Hi, my name's Cassie and I'm 9 years old, and I think if the world leaders were here, I would tell them that if they would try to help like our world and stuff, that would be great, because climate change is a horrible thing. It's breaking the ozone layer and everything, and there's gases emitted into the air and everything. Polar bears are dying, lots of different species are dying because of climate change, like reptiles, because when the temperature gets warm or cold, they will die out, because some reptiles are actually used to it, but some aren't.
I think that the world leaders should tell everybody about what to do, like power up on plants or use less energy, or educate yourself and others, shop wisely and conserve water, because these are like some of the most important things that we can do to save our planet from climate change. And if we do all these things, we might make a very big difference to this climate change.
I also think that how cars have fossil fuels and oil and coal and all that, I think electric cars are better, but because they're so expensive, only a couple of people have them. So I think world leaders could maybe lower the prices a bit so more people could have them and it doesn't cause too much gases and stuff.
I think it's really important because the future generations are like really important for us, and it's like it's depending on us to save the world for the future generations.